South Africa have completed the third highest run chase at Centurion in T20 cricket. A magnificent performance from South Africa with the bat. Now, both teams struggled with the ball today because it took two stars on the day to really take the game away from the opposition team. South Africa was superb with the bat, particularly REEZA, Hendricks, and RASSIE van der Dussen. We were nervous going into this T20 series given Rob Walter's record. He hasn't really been great in bilateral series all around, and South Africa have lost every single bilateral series under him. So he was in much need of a win because the pressure was mounting on Rob Walter. And I think the pressure is still there. There are still a hell of a lot of fans that actually don't want to see him as the coach of South Africa for white ball cricket. But today we're going to just talk about this victory. Today we're just going to take this all in and enjoy the wins when we get them. Because on this channel, when it comes to white ball cricket, there haven't been many wins to go about. And it's something that I really want to be speaking about on today's show. I think that South Africa was superb with the bat today, but it was particularly REEZA Hendricks that deserves all the credit. He was absolutely fantastic, and he managed to help South Africa take a victory in this series and take a series victory. That is the most important thing, because now we can go into the third T20I tomorrow and experiment to our heart's desire. But the big question I'm going to ask you guys, the big question I'm going to leave you guys in the comment section today is age but a number? REEZA and RASSIE, do you still want to see them in the T20 side for the World Cup, for the next World Cup, or for games to come? Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about that question. But before we get going, before we get started with today's show, I'd like you guys to please subscribe to this channel. Please click that notification bell as well, because that's when you get notified for when we go live. So go ahead and do so right away. I'd also like you guys to please smash the like button, comment, and share. Remember to comment on the stream after the stream has ended as well in the comment section on YouTube. It really helps out the channel a lot when you guys do so, because then the videos spread and we get a hell of a lot more reach on YouTube when you guys comment on the actual video after it ends. I'd also like you guys to please subscribe to Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every single month. The link is on the screen right now as well as in the description. So without further ado, let's get straight in to today's video. Fanatics magazine. This is your review show. I'm your host, Khalid Mohideen. This is the show where we speak about everything that has to do with the second T20I between South Africa and Pakistan. I did write that in the top comment section because the other day I wrote Sri Lanka, but it is Pakistan. South Africa were the victors, and they have taken the series 2-0 heading into the final T20, kind of leaving us in a situation where we can kind of experiment in the third T20. But this is what happened today. We lost the toss, and Pakistan, they opted to bat first. And at the beginning, I must say, South Africa really actually had a very good start. And I think that Dayan Khalim, making his debut today, he came in and he really performed extremely well. I think that what made it so special is that it's at his home ground now. I mean, he is born in South Africa, in Western Cape, and he went to Rondebosch Boys High. my alma mater. So he was then moved to the Titans and has been playing there ever since. Now it's become his home ground now. He plays all his cricket for the Titans. So it is kind of his home ground, or actually it is essentially his home ground now. So to make his debut in front of the crowd that normally watches him play for the Titans and etc. was special. And I think he put in a magnificent performance with the ball as the opening in your first ever match for the Proteas. I think that's brave, and I think he was fantastic today. I must say, he really held Pakistan in the power play. That was the key factor over here, I think. He kept them back in the power play, really bowled well in those first 2 overs of his. But overall, he was fantastic as a whole. I think he was South Africa's best bowler on the day by a long shot. So well done to Dayan Khalim. Brilliant performance. He's been on the channel before. We've interviewed him many times. You guys can go check him out. Check those videos out if you want to know a little bit more about Dayan Khalim. But we got a good start because Bartman took the wicket of Rizwan, and that was an important moment in the match because it was halfway through the power play and they were down 16 for 1 after 3.4 overs. So we got the good start that we wanted. But I have to just highlight someone today. Saeem Ayub. Oh my word. I think you have a new fan over here. The way he plays cricket, the way he plays this T20 game is phenomenal. Um, he shows that you can have a good technique, play good cricket shots, and still score massive runs. I think he was highly unlucky not to get his century today. And I think Irfan Khan, or particularly Abbas Afridi, was a little bit selfish towards the end over there, I think. Should have looked for a single to give him the strike so that he could take them over, so he could get his century. Essentially, he went for big shots and swung at every ball. He got a 4 and a 6 for his 11 or 4, but I feel that it was a little bit selfish of him towards the end over there. And Saeed Ayub actually deserved 100 for the way he played today. He was absolutely magnificent. He was incredible to watch him. It was so satisfying to watch him play. Phenomenal batter. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in the future. He scored 98 of 57 balls, 11 fours, 5 sixes, a strike rate of 171.92. He set up Pakistan's innings superbly. He is the main reason why Pakistan got to 206 for 5. I keep saying Sri Lanka. I'm still basking in the glory of the Test series. So that was the key factor. I mean, him and Babar Azam did really well together. I mean, Babar got 31 of 20, a strike rate of 155, which is unusual for him. He has a much lower strike rate when he bats well, but perhaps that's why he went out early. I'm just kidding. But South Africa took his wicket at the perfect time. It was in the 12th over, the first ball of the 12th over, 103 for 2 they were at that stage. And it was George Linder again in the wickets, playing an important role with the ball once again. He's really proving to everybody that he is the right person for that position for South Africa, that he deserves a selection for South Africa in the future. The rest of the batters weren't as productive. I mean, Usman Khan went out for 3 for Halim's first wicket, and then Tayyab Tahir lost his wicket for 6, caught in bowled by Halim, giving him 2 wickets. And the young gun ended with 2 for 21. Okay, he's not that young anymore as he used to be when I met him, but still I would consider him a fairly young player. 2 for 21, an economy of 5.25. Superb bowling today, Dayan Khalim. Well done. But Irfan Khan came in and he kind of took the game away from South Africa a little bit. He joined Ayub, and together they were fantastic. I mean, they took them from 114 for 3, 122 for 4, to 195 for 5. And then Abbas took them over the 200 run mark, and 206 for 5 was a phenomenal total. I mean, ultimately, if you look at it from a first innings total perspective, Um, from a first innings total perspective, it was the two, three, four, the fifth highest first innings total at Centurion. So a fantastic performance over there. I mean, we did see India um, smack 219 for six there against us recently. And we also watched the West Indies smack 258, and South Africa obviously chasing down 259 for four in 2023. That was obviously the highest run chase, but this was phenomenal. This was the third highest run chase at Centurion. So superb by South Africa. I have to say, we've been struggling with the chases. We've been struggling for those type of things. And today we did it. Got over the line. We won the series early because of our batting performance. REEZA Hendricks, 117 of 63 balls, 7 fours, 10 sixes, 185.71 strike rate. REEZA, I apologize for saying anything negative about you when I criticize you in the past, etc. Those things happen as a fan. We're going to criticize when players are doing poorly. My suggestion has been all throughout. My suggestion wasn't to just discard him like a, discard him like a lot of people have been saying that we should discard him and he should be dropped from the team, etc. My thing is, I know how the quality player REEZA Hendricks is in T20 cricket. There's a reason why he won T20 Player of the Year at the CSA Awards twice in a row. He's a form player in my eyes. When he starts getting scores, he goes on a run and then he goes on a dip. And then he goes on a run and he goes on a dip. And that's kind of how his T20 career has gone. He scores his half centuries and his milestones in clusters and tends to go on big dips in between. So my suggestion was to play him leading up to the World Cup in one or two series to allow him to find himself some form so that when the World Cup hits, he has those clusters within the tournament. Because of his age, I feel he doesn't necessarily have to play every single T20 series because it gives us a perfect chance now with 2 years out from the T20 World Cup to see what other players can bring when he finally decides to hang up his bat. So, with that said, we can't crit this performance. REEZA Hendricks was absolutely fantastic, and there's nothing bad I can say about his innings. He was superb. When he walked off the field, you could hear the crowd chanting his name. It was beautiful to watch, to see his emotions. He's not a guy that shows his emotions very often, but to see that smile on his face and how happy he was, to see how RASSIE celebrated and jumped in the air, to see how the whole dressing room stood up and applauded him and how happy they were when he reached his century. It was superb to see. It was a fantastic innings. And he was helped out by another veteran, Rassie van der Dussen. 66 of 38 balls, 3 fours, 5 sixes, 173.68 strike rate. Absolutely superb. He took South Africa over the line. He saw it out until the end. He hit the 6 to win the game. Superb batting from those two. And they showed some Mzansi Super League form from that first Mzansi Super League with the Josie Stars when they won the tournament. The pair of them were phenomenal in that tournament. That was actually the tournament that put REEZA Hendricks on the map as a T20 batter. That Mzansi Super League tournament. That was the tournament. And the pair of them were superb. Now, I feel that we should find a way to utilize them smartly. We don't have to pile pressure on them by playing them in every single series. I feel that they just need a series to get themselves into form, allow them to have the rest that they need, and utilize them in the big tournaments within the squad, because I feel that that is a very good options to have these two, because they complete that top order beautifully. When they're in form, they bat like this, and that's what makes it absolutely superb. So, and what makes it even better is that their strike rate never went into the negative. They both stayed with a massive positive strike rate throughout the game. And that was the key factor for me. Heinrich Klaassen came out today and he scored 805. It was a pity that Ryan Rickelton and Matthew Bretsky couldn't show their skills. I'm hoping that they play again tomorrow and that they showcase their skills and they take the opportunity with no pressure on them to go out there and show what they can do in this format for South Africa. It's a much needed from their part. The negative today would be from the bowling. There were too many wides again. There's too many extras again. I don't like this. 16 extras, one no ball, 15 wides. That's just too much. It's not good at all. I mean, it's terrible. That's all I can say about that. I mean, compared to Pakistan, they got hit for 210, but they only bowled 5 extras, one leg by, one no ball, 3 wides. So we need to improve that because that's been our downfall in many matches. Kwenamapaka bowled quick, but was expensive today. He went with the economy of 13. Ngaba Peter struggled today for his 2 overs, got 0 for 28, got smacked all on the ground, but it's not a wicket that spins necessarily for the spinners often. So I think he needs to really learn from the likes of maybe Tabray Shamsi, and also maybe perhaps he could get some tutoring from Imran Tahir. That would be a perfect mentor for him, I feel. I hope that Imran can come spend some time at the Lions or something and have some sessions with Ngaba Peter because I think he'd really benefit from that. George Linder today was the second best bowler for me, 1 for 28. Courtney Bartman took 2 for 51. Very expensive, but he took the 2 important wickets. So overall, not the best bowling performance, but superb from REEZA Hendricks, and we actually won the series. So well done to South Africa. Fantastic over there from that perspective. So let me get into the live chat and see what you guys have had to say. It's a late night, guys. I'm really tired. So I'm going to try and wrap this up. But I'm going to read some of your comments to see what you guys have had to say. Kwaka says, congratulations to the Proteas. We did it and won the series. Fiery innings from REEZA and RASSIE. Don't you support Pakistan, Wakas? But I know you support the Proteas too. Sarfa says, REEZA, salute to him. I was a critic of him and he made me regret every word I said. Well-deserved century. I always said he has the class. But REEZA, you must understand the player. He's the type of player, like I explained. He does have the ability in him. But when he's off form, he goes on a long run he goes on quite a bit of a drought. But then when he starts scoring again, he scores on the trot and he scores his centuries and milestones in clusters. So that's why I would like us to think about that and utilize that mentality when using him ahead of the World Cup. Allow him to find his form maybe a series before. Don't let him bat himself out of form. Then he goes with bad form into the World Cup and it continues. I would like him to hit that form maybe just before the World Cup, maybe the match before the World Cup, 2 matches before the World Cup. And then he can hit that first couple of matches in the World Cup with that full form and confidence. Because once he gets into a rut, he stays in that rut for quite some time until he scores does something miraculous like this and bats himself out of that. Safa says, congrats to Klaassen at his first series win as a captain. Safa says, RASSIE played a crazy innings. Yeah, he was also very lucky. A lot of the shots skewed and was mishit and stuff, but a lot of it was also fantastic. He was brilliant as well, RASSIE today. And I've been one to say that maybe we should move on from RASSIE van der Dussen, but when he can still perform like this, I think age is just a number, to be honest with you. Times have changed in the sporting world with the new science and sports psychology and sports medicine and sports recovery that's out there these days. Things have changed. We can see players like Ronaldo playing still at the highest level, like for Portugal at 39 years old. Pepe's played till 40. I mean, there are many players now that are playing into their 40s and still playing professional sport. So the game has changed, and if RASSIE is so fit and still playing like this, then why not put him in the hat to contention? I'm not against anybody getting an opportunity to play for South Africa, as long as they have deserved that opportunity and they're not getting picked on reputation alone. Stuart says, wow, REEZA and RASSIE. Blitz says, RASSIE, yeah, REEZA, not sure. But why not REEZA? But RASSIE, yes. REEZA has to be one of the prettiest T20 players out there. If they play like this, you can't drop them. Blitz says, because he hasn't been consistent in the World Cup. I think we need to start giving guys like Luandre a chance. To be honest, I still want young guys to step up, but how can you deny RASSIE and REEZA after such a performance? Yeah, but there's time. We don't have to force youngsters into a team. There's time. There's enough good T20 players in South Africa that are coming through. You don't have to push an 18-year-old into the team just for the sake of it. There are many players ahead of guys like Loandre and Deva Brevis in T20 cricket at the moment. There are guys ahead of them that are performing extremely well in the T20 game. Jordan Herman is another batter that we need to keep an eye on. He just scored a century, a massive century against the England Lions yesterday in the week. The match ended yesterday. They beat them quite comprehensively. But we must remember as well that a lot of those players in the England Lions side, it's not actually like an A side. A lot of them were like 17, 16, 18, 19 years old. So they were kids. So, yeah, we also need to take that into account. But Jordan Herman was fantastic because they have two very good seam bowlers over there that open the bowling for England Lions. They're superb. They're quick. They can manipulate the ball. They're accurate. They're consistent. And South African batters really had to work for that. Yes, in that match. But back to this T20. Just Ginger Josh says REEZA is a very nice batsman to watch. He can make batting look so easy when he's in form. When he's out of form, he looks terrible. When we know that. REEZA can make batting look so easy, says Josh. Sarfraz says SA bowling was just shockingly bad. Just Ginger Josh says also seriously well bowled to Halim. Man can bowl. Yeah. Ludwig Mashimbi says REEZA proved me wrong today. I will no longer call him a tuck player. A tuck player. Sarfraz says Quina was shaken after Proteas senior players should calm him down. Hopefully, he serves as a learning for young Quina. Jaitan Narang says REEZA needs to give consistent performance to be part of World Cup team, and RASSIE needs to be given chances and consistent performance required from him also. Yeah, I would agree with you if everybody was putting in consistent performances. Nobody's putting in consistent performances in this team. Bar maybe Tristan Stubbs over the last year. Other than that, Markram's been struggling. David Miller gets a score here and there. Heinrich Klaassen gets a score here and there. He's in terrible form at the moment. So we can't have double standards. That should be then the case for everybody. And when everybody in this team, and T20 game is such a fickle game. I mean, anything can happen. You can be in crap form and be hitting the ball terribly for months, and then all of a sudden you can put on a performance like REEZA did today. That's just the game. That's just the T20 game for you. Safra says, interesting fact about Amir Jungu, of West Indies, or how do you pronounce it? Django. And REEZA got their 100 by hitting a 6. Today was a perfect example of one bad tournament doesn't make you a bad player. REEZA pre and post T20 has been really good for SA. CSA T20 have to play 2 years in the running. I said that earlier on the show. Sarfraz says, Khalid, we all are regretting our words. Lawrence Bailey says, REEZA yeah, I saw that. You said that twice. Dennis says, congratulations, my prediction came through about REEZA and RASSIE. Well done. Thank you, Dennis. Lawrence Bailey says RASSIE Wonderson was classed to another player that's not classed as a T20 player by many. The two old dogs got the job done. Yeah, but I mean, RASSIE's been rewriting that story over the last 4 years. I don't think RASSIE is similar to REEZA in that way. When they are struggling, they struggle, and when they are great, they are world class. There's hardly ever in between with the two of them. And they tend to go on runs, the both of them. Stuart Judge, they both played extremely well, but my question is how and when do we start adding more younger batters for the next World Cup cycle? It's not only about giving young guys a chance. You can mess up a youngster's career by giving them debuts too soon. It's very important to make sure that you nurture them correctly, support them correctly, give give them the right amount of game time, and don't try to force them into a side. I felt so far that they've been doing that with Andile Somalani. They've been kind of forcing him into the side because of the desperation for an all-rounder. And it can really mess up a player's career. I don't think it will with Somalani because I think he is incredibly mentally strong and humble. So I think that he will get through it. But we need to be careful about when we give players debuts, etc. But Lawrence says we all want Rickleton and Brzezinski to be the guys to take us forward. But let's be honest, both of them have been rather poor in the opportunities they've got a while. REEZA is turning out runs. REEZA is main number one. But I still feel that we can still give Rickleton and Brzezinski opportunities when these TDs come along. We've got a hell of a lot. I'll rather have a headache of everybody playing well and then picking a team from that than having none of them play well. Well, only some of them. Fantastic performance from SA, Khalim and Linda, fantastic with the ball, while REEZA and RASSIE were absolutely gone with the bat. That was a mature chase. That is what we needed in the World Cup final, but we don't learn. In my Times Square, Bartman, why does he always blunder when it matters? Remember, he was brilliant in the World Cup and then he got hit against England, which was one of the main reasons he didn't start the final. Sami says, as a REEZA, but every bowler gets hit at some point. That's something that's just part of the game. I don't know why we get so highly strung when it comes to bad performances in cricket, because cricket is that type of game. There's nobody in the world of cricket history besides one person, I would say, that we never even got to watch play. So that was that consistent, that would score almost every game. So that is something that we need to take into consideration. Most people in cricket, you fail more than you succeed. It's natural. I mean, the only person in the history of cricket that you can say was a player that would have scored all the time or almost every game is Don Bradman. I mean, like a 90 average. But majority of people only average like 50 or 40, etc. And that shows, majority of the time, most cricketers will fail more than they succeed. That's just naturally the way it is. And in T20 cricket, it will be even more so. So Mr. Mrs. as a REEZA out person, let me be the first to congratulate him. Mo Lescholi says, maybe Captain Markram is the problem for this team. We can't just look at one game and allow that to be the deciding decision for us when it comes to things. We need to have a little bit more patience and have a little bit more of a logical approach when it comes to assessing these things, and sit back and not talk. Sit back a bit and think and look at the whole scenario and then give our thoughts on it, because there's a lot of factors that play its part in team selections and all of those type of things. Sami says, next game, let's give players a chance. I would like to see that. That's what I would also like to think. I think both REEZA and RASSIE have shown again that they still have it in them. They don't have to play every single bloody game. It's not how things need to be. Lorenzo says, REEZA T20s, yes. ODIs, no. Controversial, I know, but that's my opinion. It's not controversial at all. I don't think that's controversial at all, actually. I think that's a pretty logical statement. He hasn't performed in ODIs, so this shouldn't be a thing. I mean, currently we have ODI players that have performed. I mean, the guys that have been selected have already been performing really well. So I think that it would be perfect. ODI would be the perfect format for our young test players. And I think that Rob should think of that. and select our players that are select that test majority of that test lineup, that top order. Ultimately, I think our whole top six could be our ODI batting um, order. Ultimately, I think they're all good enough to be good enough to play ODI cricket. That top six could be our ODI team. And then we can pick T20 on our own. I mean, Klaassen's coming to the end. David Miller's coming to the end. They're going to want to play T20 cricket to tournaments around the world. Pick them for T20s. I think that top six on the test side should be a top six for ODIs. It gives us a lot of consistencies. 50 over has a lot more in common with it, with test cricket. I think that would be a good idea, in my opinion. Rassi, in my time square says, Rassi, don't know, man. He struggles so much throughout innings, then again smash two boundaries out of nowhere. But that's a Rassi. He's a grinder, fighter. That's the type of player he is. He can look very crap and really brilliant in the same innings. Pratik says, fantastic performance by SA. However, teams like Afghanistan are better than Pakistan. Would like to see them perform similarly against top teams in T20I. Some is like India, for example. I will get murdered there. Simi Rassi fan can play on his day. Lawrence Khalid in 78 caps for SA. REEZA notched up 17 and a half centuries and 1 ton. That's the most 50s for any SA player, past and present. That shows a level. I've always spoken him up. I've always said that. Always said that this is a bullshit narrative, that he's not a classy player in T20 cricket. People tend to mix. What I hate about a lot of the fans out there, the regular fans, not you guys here, they tend to mix up formats and judge a player based on cross formats. They should be criticized, or analysis should be drawn per format. They're separate. Completely different mentality, completely different technique needed, completely different fitness needed for the game. We need to look at each format separately and judge accordingly. Don't just group everything in together. They are separate formats for a reason. Tex, I see REEZA play like this, and I wonder why he ghosted us in the all 9 World Cup games and in India T20 series. For me personally, if I just look at his career, like I said, I feel that he bats in clumps with regards to scores. I feel that REEZA hit form too early before that World Cup. I feel that if he hit form a little bit later, maybe in the last 2-3 games before leading into the World Cup, if that's when he started scoring, I think he would have continued it into the World Cup. In my time case is Khalid, but it's time Rassi plays to be acquired by Stubbs in ODI T20. Rassi every is dipping in ODI. Lorenzo, I don't know what you're saying there, bro. Lorenzo Rassi is just a fantastic all-format player, experience and backs his ability. We lack those gritty types of players. Pratik says, what happened to Nokia again? Where are the other crop of 140 plus bowlers coming from? Also, this would have been a good opportunity for Brevis as well. Is he involved in Red Bull? He was in the test squad previously. But there's a long way to go for Brevis. We need to be patient with him. He needs to play more domestic cricket, get his numbers up before we start picking him in Proteas teams, guys. Let's not get ahead of ourselves when it comes to asking youngsters to be there. They have to show their class at domestic level first. You can't just be picking guys out of nowhere. Unless the only exception I would make is if someone is a really, really special talent, like for example with bowlers, you can do that because bowling doesn't change that much. A good line and length is a good line and length no matter where you play in the world. You just have to what a good line and length is, where that patch is for a good line and length on a wicket changes because of the venue or what conditions, whatever. But a good line and length is a good line and length. It doesn't matter where you are. So yeah, with bowlers you can do that, especially if we have an extreme pace bowler, because pace is a commodity these days. There's not a lot of 150 plus bowlers around in South Africa. So when they come along, you need to kind of take them and nurture them and bring them into the fold as quick as possible. Sami says we need other players play tomorrow. Uh, yeah, Nokia is injured. He broke his toe. Nande Berger's injured for the season. Gerald Kutsia is injured for the season. Those are our fast bowlers. I mean, Othniel Batman was quick today. He bowled 148. His top speed was 148 today. Quena bowled 149. Lorenzo says people who criticize Quena must get their heads checked out. The guy just finished with matrix, so consistency will unfortunately be 100%. Unfortunately, not be part of his game now. Let's back him. He'll learn like Dale did. You will learn. I mean, come on. Who's criticizing him? Like, seriously. Those people must check themselves, because I mean that's unnecessary. In my time, says CSA should stop Nokia playing T20 leagues around the world. Pro plays a whole world league available. You should decide either to play T20 leagues or international cricket. That's the conversations that they're having with him currently. Lawrence says, Khalid, I genuinely want you to do a show where you break down REEZA's numbers the past 2 or 3 years. When I say the World Cup was his only major blip, I'm not exaggerating. But I know that. I don't need to do a show to say that. I've been saying it. The World Cup was the only time that he didn't perform. There's a reason why he was. There's a reason why he was T20 Player of the Year twice in a row at the CSA Awards. There's a reason. That's amongst players like Larson, David Miller, all of these guys, Markram, all of them are around. And yet he won it twice in a row, not just once. Dex says, why Peter bowl so many half trackers? Is he hanging out with Shamsi? Yeah, it's difficult for a spinners in Centurion, to be honest. Ronald says, if you understand how Rassie sets up his innings, people will appreciate him more. Starts off slow and goes bang at the back end. Yes, we know that's how he approaches his innings. That's always been the case, and that's why people have had an issue with him in T20 cricket, especially in the top order, because he can put the rest of the team under pressure that way. It's good for him and for his game to get himself in, but it's not great for the team around him. It puts a lot of pressure on the opposition batters. I mean, on his not his opposition batters, on his fellow partners. Pratik says, for me, Klaasen and Miller would be playing the 2027 World Cup if their form does not slide considerably down. But players like Bingham and Verreina should be given more opportunities in ODIs. Stuart Judge says also, to be fair, that New York pitch in the World Cup was difficult for all batters to bat on. Lawrence says, I mean, that T20 wicket was a nightmare for about every opener. Exactly. I mean, we also need to take that into consideration too, that REEZA is an opener. He's a fantastic player. But he does get those times when he dips in form. And that's natural for any player, I guess. Dick says, Harley Brzezinski does not move me. He also had enough chances this time for Leandre or Brevis. I don't think so. I think Leandre and Brevis need to prove themselves domestically. This SA20. Matthews proved himself SA20 for the Warriors, etc. He's proved himself and he needs an opportunity, a long extended run. He's been in and out of the team all the time. That doesn't help anybody. Look what it does to someone like REEZA. REEZA gets a prolonged run, fails, gets selected, fails, gets selected. Matthew Breski doesn't get those type of opportunities, and he's expected to just score as soon as he gets a chance. Like, that's not how things work. Look how long it took for Ryan Nicholton to get into form in Test cricket and actually finally hit a century and be good. Same with Vian Mulder. It takes time, guys, especially with the gap between domestic cricket and international cricket. We need to be more patient with the new guys that come into the team that need to get an extended run in the side. Play them and allow them to learn the game, because they're learning on the job, literally, because they're not getting the same education domestically or anywhere else. They have to learn about things on the job. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please smash the like button, comment, share, and subscribe, and click that notification bell for all future videos, please. Don't forget to also comment after I've ended the stream in the comment section on YouTube itself. It really helps us a lot with traction, etc., and spreading the channel far and wide to all South African cricket fans. So please get involved in the comment section for me, and also share this to any other South African cricket fans that you know, whether it's your uncle, your brother, your sister, your girlfriend, your auntie, your mistress, whatever. Send it out there. Send it to all of them. Allow them to follow us, and let's spread the word that this is the number one channel for South African cricket fans on YouTube. Thanks a lot, everybody, for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you again very, very soon. Peace out.